right, vinyl community, Jeff here again. Yes, I am time to do some contest video entries. Figure I'd knock out a couple videos in a row, which is why if you look at my thumbnails, I'm wearing the same shirt in the past couple videos. But anyway, posting these at different times. Anyway, this one is for Jimmy Barnes, new channel to me. He's pushing to 2,000 subscribers, which is a nice mark to make. And I just discovered him. I don't know a whole lot about his channel. I saw somebody else that entered, so I decided to enter. And I've checked, went ahead and subscribed to the channel, which is one of the prerequisites. And we'll be checking out more of his videos later. But I wanted to go ahead and knock this out because it was an interesting concept. Based around 2 for 2,000, he wants to see a bunch of things that are around the number 2. So the first thing he wants to see is 2 albums by the same act, one that's before 2000, the year 2000, and one that's after the year 2000. So a lot of choices to choose from. Somehow I landed on this one, but we've got Saint with their initial album from 1984, Warriors of the Sun. This is the original 84 release. It has been reissued this year with a remastered edition, but they have a brand new album, Heaven Fell, from 2022. So from 84 to 2022, their brand new album, probably one of my favorite releases of the year. Absolutely great, stellar album. All right, and then up next, he wanted to see a act, which he wants to see an album, which is the act's second release. And this one I just got over the weekend, so it was already out to be played, and I went ahead and showed that. Larry Norman's Only Visiting This Planet. Now, there were, his first, he had a couple like bootleggy albums because he was having a hard time getting a record deal because he was in the late 60s and early 70s, singing about Jesus, hippie music. Didn't really cut very well with the labels. And so he had like a street level album, which was kind of live stuff. And he had a bootleg album, which is actually called Bootleg. More live and studio type things. But his first official studio album was Up on This Rock. And then this was his second. And like I said, there were those ones in between that were not really albums. They were just kind of self-release type bootleggy things. But this was on MGM Records. Only Visiting This Planet, which is the first part of what they call the trilogy, followed up by So Long Ago the Garden and In Another Land. And again, I just picked this up over the weekend. I was missing that. I have the other 2 on vinyl. All right, the next question is to show a music release from a duo. Now, at first I'm thinking, how strict is that? Because you've got like, Hall & Oates. But there's a band and 2 guys that are the front people. And so I had to rack my brains a little longer to try to be strict with this and say, I want a music that's it's produced by 2 main guys. And I found one, and it's absolutely one of my favorite albums, and that's the band Mortal. Gyro and Jerome, 2 guys. It's industrial, dance type music, industrial. One of the early bands that I got into that was of this genre, that had that, it was more electronic beats, lots of movie clip samples. I fell in love with this album, fell in love with it. It was just so cutting edge to me at the time, and still love the fact that they finally did release this on vinyl a handful of years ago. Love this album. They went on, they had a second album, which was a little more, less of the dancey, a little more edgy, and then they had put together a whole band, and it became, a little more alt rock type feel, and they went on to do a lot of other great stuff. Jerome from this band has been for quite a few years, is in Switchfoot. So he's went on to do that. But the early days of Mortal, this has been like the late 80s, I guess. Love this album. It was just those 2 dudes. And so, all right. And then he has a couple bonus questions for a bonus entry. Show a physical release that you have more than 1 copy of. Now, this could have been easy in the sense of, I have a lot of albums where I've got an OG copy and then a remaster. Not too easy. He was looking for something that you have in 2 different formats or 2 different. I looked at it as items that I'm going to keep, not necessarily just because I bought the remaster. He showed, a CD and a vinyl record. I have a ton of those, so that'd have been easy too. But I looked for something that is 2 physical copies of the same album and the reason I would keep them. the collectability of them. And that could be easily shown by an album plus a picture disc, which I went that route, but I decided to go with this one because I've actually got 3 copies of this that I plan on keeping. That's the first album or EP or whatever you call it, the Yellow and Black Attack by Stryper. And I've told the story before, but the whole purpose, when they released this album in the beginning, you can see the hand is cropped and you just see the fingers. You don't see the names on the bottom rocket there. You're kind of it's miscropped. You should have seen more of this where you can see the initials of the band members are on all the rockets, but you can't see 2 of them. And so this came out, and it came out on black, and it was miscropped again, the same thing, but it was released originally on black and yellow, which makes sense because the Stryper yellow and black. So I've got a black and a yellow edition of the Yellow and Black Attack. Well, then they came back later that year, I guess, and reissued it on black with the proper cropping. You see more of the rockets and everything. So these 3 copies are unique to me, and I have no plans on, getting rid of them. Whereas some of the OG remaster things, maybe eventually I'll move along, one of the OGs or something. But anyway, there you go. Quick and easy contest. There's another bonus aspect where you can share his video, and I may go around and get that done. But at this point, that's not part of this video, so I have to prove that later to get another entry. Entry for the video, all the details are below. Click the link, check it out. Jimmy Barnes, check out his channel, and, subscribe and do all that stuff and jump on board this contest, and you too could be a winner. Thanks a lot for watching. Rock on and rock hard.